I'm blind, but I didn't always know I was blind. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I'm going to tell you all about that today. My name is Paul Castle. That sound was my guide dog, Mr. Maple, running over here and dropping his bone because he gets excited anytime I talk to a camera and say I'm blind. Maple! Really? More bones? It's like a mic drop. He just drops it. He wants to get up here now. Maple, Maple. Not every video is about you, okay? Good boy. Woo. Today's video is not about Mr. Maple because I'm gonna tell you actually about how I got my white cane. This guy right here. It is the first step in most blind people's mobility journey. So I'm gonna tell you about how I acquired this bad boy. This is actually my second cane here that I'm holding. It's not the original OG cane I got, but I will tell you all about that. So first of all, quick refresher. If you don't know me, my name is Paul Castle. My husband Matthew is not here today. This is just a little story time between us. And well, let's see, where do I begin? I was diagnosed with my eye disease at the age of 16. It's called retinitis pigmentosa. However, I was experiencing symptoms of the disease well before that diagnosis. The first symptom oftentimes is the loss of low light vision, so like what is called night blindness. And there were definitely signs of that happening when I was probably around the age 6, 7, 8, when my whole family went on this camping trip and everybody was pointing up at the stars and my brother was pointing out the Big Dipper and I saw nothing, just black sky. And so, unfortunately though, because I'm like the little brother and my big brother was pointing out all these cool constellations and I felt jealous and I was definitely feeling the FOMO, I lied and pretended that I could see them. Because eventually I thought, like, I'm not seeing what he's seeing, but this isn't fun, so I'm gonna pretend I can see them. And unfortunately, that little ruse sort of was one of the things that kept me from being diagnosed at a young age. Now, a lot of people wanna know, like, how did you get through those school exams that everybody does, you know, when we do the eye charts at school? Well, my disease did not affect those exams. I actually did need glasses. I got glasses at the age of 5 because it was clear that I was nearsighted and I was seeing blurry. So I did not actually fail those exams because I had glasses at that point. And what is this? This is apparently glasses. Glasses! I was wearing glasses, okay? People called me Four Eyes. And of course, my family thought that that was gonna solve all my vision issues. And like, you know, we had never heard of these other inherited retinal diseases before. So like any, you know, parent, I'm sure, assumed that glasses solved the problem. And in a lot of ways it did. Of course, I could see things more clearly with my central vision. What nobody knew was that my rods and cones were slowly dying, that I was losing my low light vision, and that blind spots were starting to appear in my peripheral vision. Now, because I could still look at people in the eye, I could still read the blackboard at school or the chalkboard or the whiteboard or whatever it was, and I could read books and everything else. So of course, everybody thought, no problem here. And it was those low light situations, like going into dim restaurants, movie theaters, you know, trying to find my seat after using the bathroom in a movie theater and sitting on somebody's lap, for example, happened all the time. People just thought I was clumsy, you know, people just labeled me as accident prone. Paul's really clumsy, he's bad at sports, etc., etc., etc. So this went on until the age of 16 when, like I said, I was learning to drive a car and I was merging. Okay, here's the cars. Here's me. We're going along and there's another car next to me over here, except this is all a blind spot now. And I merged into the other vehicle. Everybody else in the car screaming, okay? And I pulled over to the side of the road. I got out of the car. That was like it. That was the end of my driving experience at the age of 16. I went and saw an ophthalmologist the very next week. I was referred to a bunch of specialists, and that's how I was eventually diagnosed with my eye disease. But like a lot of people who find out that they are going blind. And yes, that is the nature of the disease. It's a slow, progressive descent into total blindness, no vision. Maybe just a hint of vision, maybe just a little light and shadow. But right now, today, like my vision is just pinpoint. It's just the very center of my eye, and the rest of it is what I would describe as static on a television screen. It's all like kind of moving all the time, but like I can't see my fingers or anything in front of my face right now. I can just see, like, as I look forward, I just see this tiny little green light, and that is pretty much all I can see. And even that is blurry, it's not perfect. I still wear contact lenses just to improve that tiny little central vision. However, basically, I want to tell you about getting my cane and why it took me so long to finally get my cane. I think a lot of people who are going blind slowly over time don't know when to take that next step in the mobility journey. And for a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people in my position, I think a lot of us get into enough accidents, we bump into enough things, our shins are badly bruised. For me, I have to be honest, I had knocked over so many small children and accidentally kicked so many adorable dogs that I just felt so bad. Because of course they're down in this area that I can't see at all, and I'm looking ahead and I'm walking down the road and I'm kicking children and dogs. I look like the world's worst person for doing that. And I felt so terrible. So that was actually what inspired me to get the cane. I was like, I cannot kick another dog. And and I felt so bad about the kids. Children fall in slow motion. They tumble slowly and they're silent for like 3 to 5 excruciating seconds of silence before they either scream in terror or get scooped up by their parents and don't say anything at all. It's like this 5 seconds of intense suspense. I always felt so terrible. And can you imagine? I'm walking down the street, kicking dogs and children, and I have no cane, no excuse. What am I gonna do? Oh, I have a retinal disease called retinitis pigmentosa, and I was diagnosed when I was 16, and it's degenerative. But I'm not using a cane yet, and I'm no. I just look like a completely absent-minded person who's kicking their kid over. So I can't go around like this anymore. And by the way, I was living in Canada. I was born in Canada, so at this time, this is like post-college, just graduated. And I Google search, like, where do I get a white cane? And I discovered the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. It's a huge organization up in Canada that provides mobility services and all kinds of things. So many things for people who are visually impaired and blind. All kinds of things. Braille lessons, for example. There's special tools that can like magnify newspapers and magazines and all sort of adaptive technology and at no cost. So it's really incredible. But the main and perhaps, one of the most important things that they provide is a cane at no cost plus your cane training. So I gave them a call, and I gotta say it was like within a week, I arranged for my very first lesson with the cane. I think I had to submit some paperwork. You have to like submit your medical records and stuff. And then a woman drove out to where I was living in Canada, and she pulled up in a big truck. I remember this big white truck pulled in, and I saw the little handicap thing dangling from her, like I think it was on her rearview mirror, or the little mirror. It's not the rear view mirror, is it? Okay, you can tell I haven't driven a car since I was 16 years old. It was hanging there in her car. And she got out of the car and she was using a cane. She was blind and driving. I did not ask about that. I did not ask. I'm sorry, my leg's falling asleep. Just one sec. Oh my God, my leg, it's tingling. So that was kind of like, okay. She's driving her car. Maybe for some blind people that's choice. That's choice. For me, it was definitely not, something I felt safe doing for my safety and the safety of others. So anyway, I welcomed her into my home. She gave me the cane. I remember her teaching me how to hold it first and foremost. So it's sort of like, how can I show it? So like, first of all, we got like the cane to be my right height. It has to kind of come up to under your armpit like that, like under your, kind of to your shoulder height. I'm 5'11", and so this cane, I don't know how many inches tall it is, but it's right up here to this height. And you hold it with your thumb. Interesting story. My mother was a golf instructor, a certified golf instructor. So she taught me as a kid how to golf. And you actually hold the cane much like you hold a putter. So you got your thumb pointing down this way and then out. And then you just do this. She taught me the sweeping motion. So when you put your right leg forward, you're actually sweeping over to your left side. And then when you move your left foot forward, you sweep. That was another bone drop. So, and then you just kind of like get this motion of going back and forth. And I want to be clear. I may have gotten that wrong just now. The side-to-side thing I just described, that I may have flipped it, because I want to be really honest with you. I've never really got the motion or the rhythm right. I just kind of sweep, as comfortable as I am, I just sweep in front of me at about the same tempo as I'm walking back and forth. And it has always worked for me. So I'm not I'm not great with rhythm. I like to dance. I'm more of a, what do you call that kind of dancing? Where you just kind of make it up as you go. Like I was terrible. I did salsa dancing lessons in high school and the instructor kicked me. He kicked me because I was just so bad. I had no rhythm. But interpretive dancing, that's what the word was. I'm more of an interpretive dancer, so I feel like I'm more of an interpretive cane user. If that can be a thing. Okay, so I got my lesson. She gave me these basic skills. She taught me how to go up and down stairs. She also gave me these little bumps that I could put on different buttons in my house, like the stove and things like that. These little bumps, little hacks like that around the house. Things that if you watch this channel, you know that Matthew, my husband, has done for me. So that was the first time I was sort of exposed to that. And that, you guys, that was it. I never saw that instructor again. She got into her car, drove away, and I never saw her again. I presume I could have gotten more lessons. And here in the United States, I know that it's like a 2-week thing. I was like, this is it? And I was so terrified to go out into the world with this. By the way, I was in a rural part of Canada. I just kind of feel bad for saying that I wasn't given more extensive training because I think maybe she just thought, you know what, Paul, he's got it. He's got it down. And so I was on my very own, and I have to tell you, I hesitated to use it. I didn't use it for a few days. I was scared to, because I just didn't want all the eyes on me. How funny is that? Like, I can't even see them. But like, I'm paranoid of standing out. And it was the first time as a person with a disability that I was stepping out of my house and saying to the world, I have a disability. Here is a visible proof that I have it. And before I was kind of walking around with the invisible disability, and this made it visible. And so that took some getting used to. And I was also afraid that people would think, because I still have a tiny amount of usable vision, they would say, you shouldn't be using that. You're not really blind. And I hate to tell you, but that actually happened. I stepped out of the house first day with the cane, and I locked eyes with this woman right outside of the grocery store. And she looked at me, she looked down at the cane, and she screamed, "He's not blind. He looked at me." Okay, this woman, I don't want to make any assumptions about her, but we can just imagine she had a lot of personality, okay? And I just got out of that situation as quickly as possible. I'm sure I was beet red. And I was like, see, I can't do it. I can't leave the house. I confided in my friend. I said, look, I can't do it. And my friend said, you know what? That was your worst fear, and it happened. You got it out of the way. So let's just move on. And guess what? I've been using the cane now for many years, and it has never happened again. So that was true. I feel like the universe was just getting all that out of the way for me. I am so grateful that I have the cane. It opened so many doors for me, literally, like it literally did. But it gave me independence, and when I felt like I really experienced the kindness of so many strangers when I started to use it. And although it took me a little while to get over that sort of like the stigma bit, I experienced nothing but kindness. And then it gave me more confidence to leave the house. And I knocked over no more children, and I kicked 0 more dogs. So that was the goal, and I achieved it. And the other cool thing about getting the cane, of course, is because I was a cane user for many years before I applied for my guide dog, Mr. Maple, that was like checked that box. That's one of the first things they ask you at the when you apply for a guide dog is, do you have mobility training? It is required before you get a guide dog that you do know how to use a white cane, and I was a cane user, and so that just skipped to the next step, which was just waiting to get the phone call, and I flew down and got my guide dog, Mr. Maple. Now, I still do use my cane sometimes for like little tasks. If I run to get the mail downstairs, or maybe I'm just running across the street really quick and I don't need to put Maple in a harness to do something that's gonna take me 3 or 4 minutes to do. So it's still very handy. I always have one here in the apartment. I have another one in our car, which I don't drive. Matthew drives. And I always have a backup cane there because it's good to have one of those. And yeah, so that's my story about the cane. I hope you learned something new today. This was sort of a new format to tell a story this way. What'd you think? Should I do it again? Why don't you leave me a comment and tell me what you want to know about my blindness journey, something about what it's like to live with blindness, and maybe something guide dog related, maybe something related to my career, because I am a visual artist, so that has a lot going on there too. So please leave me a comment, let me know, and thanks guys, I appreciate you. listening to this whole story, if you made it through. If you made it to the end of this story, leave a comment with the secret emoji. Let's pick one. The red balloon. I love the red balloon emoji. Drop that red balloon if you made it to the end of the video, okay? All right, see you next time. See you. I will see you next time. Well, you'll see me. I'll see a little bit of you.